sprayed with water hose. That ain't no black stuff. You weren't there. You weren't there when they were scared to walk home. When we still have sundown towns, but when we really had sundown town, when it was like sundown states.
Yeah.
They're like, just don't be in Arkansas. Right.
Okay.
We didn't grow up at the time. Some of the places where we hang out, some of the places we hang out at, Negroes couldn't even go there. Back in the day. We're in Bossier right now.
Yeah.
Could we be here in the 90s? No. When we be here podcast in the 90s, man, we were Bossier. What you doing over there?
Right. Facts.
Now we be over here. And it doesn't feel so racist.
Yeah.
Because we can be in community with them.
Right.
But we don't understand. They've already built the system where what do black people own in Bossier? We can be here.
Yeah.
And we can definitely spend our money here because they help too. The people who own this.
I got you.
So we confuse proximity with we confuse proximity with being in community with people. That because I could be next to this person and this person's not saying something harmful to me.
Yeah.
Then that's my brother.
Right.
Yeah. And I think we have to kind of grow up and mature. We have to get out of that. Because the people we should be having that type of understanding and compassion with, we don't. Those are our spouses. Those are our children, our immediate family members we grew up with. I've never seen our community want to be so attached to people outside of our families, outside of our communities, but then tear up everything in our own households and our own communities. We can't be around our brothers, our cousins, our aunts, our uncles. We can't be around the schoolmates that we grew up. Oh, I'm not gonna like your, you know what I mean? Like it's like we hate everybody we grew up around, and then we go be around strangers, and we got all this love.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, and then when it's time to vote, you see white people that don't even like each other get together in solidarity and say they're gonna put white first, and it's hard to get. Like, I'm not saying we don't have anybody black do it, because we wouldn't be here right now if somebody black did do it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the numbers, there's so many of us running around that don't understand blackness as a culture.
Okay.
We look at it like a race. Like, of course, I was born and I'm this skin color. Like, no, it's a culture.
Right.
It's a set of behaviors.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can hit the head nod and you know what to do.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
right.
Yeah.
When it's time to eat, we have expectations for seasoning and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
So look, last time you were here, State of Black Shreveport, we got to talk to you. We actually talked about Juneteenth. So, right now it's starting to finally be recognized in this state as a state holiday or a national holiday here in Louisiana now?
It was a national holiday when Joe Biden won.
Okay.
He made it a national holiday.
Okay.
And signed it into law. But then Donald Trump has an effort right now to not only remove Juneteenth as a federal holiday, but also Dr. King Day.
Okay, and I think I remember hearing that. Yeah. The question was, why are we celebrating it? And I think that was from him, to my recollection.
Yeah. Correct me mostly because it became, well, I ain't gonna say first. At some point, it became cliche to celebrate Juneteenth. There was a time when you had to beg a lot of black folks to celebrate Juneteenth.
Okay.
Then it became popularized. Then, of course, social media. I'm paraphrasing for the second time.
Okay.
Well, but we're at a moment now where blackness has become politicized.
Okay. So
because blackness has become politicized in a way then more than it already has historically, obviously Joe Biden won because of the Black Lives Matter movement, biggest civil rights protests in history, 2020, if people didn't know.
Right.
And without all that black protesting, black energy pushing this country to recognize and reconcile with the history of racism, there wouldn't have been incentive for Joe Biden to do that. He wouldn't have even won. When he said, you ain't even black if you question me, which was weird. Mm-hmm. That was a weird moment. I think we could have checked him and still supported him. I didn't like what he said, but I still voted for him because I understood it was a survival situation and he was better than Trump.
Right.
Right. But the black vote was something very valuable to him. And we got a lot of good policy. during the Biden administration. We had like a lower unemployment rate than we'd had in years.
Yeah.
Under Joe Biden. He put all that money in the infrastructure plan. A lot of it was in little Easter eggs, like under solar and green energy grants and stuff like that for us. A lot of black churches, black organizations in Shreveport got some of that funding.
Okay.
Right. We got solar panels on Morningstar, like some of the historically black churches in the community because of that. So we definitely got a lot of wins in the administration.
Yeah.
We didn't get everything we wanted, but I think the stark contrast between what we got with Joe Biden, what we got with Donald Trump, again, to answer your question, we got Juneteenth as a federal holiday.
Yeah.
Through Joe Biden. Joe Biden signed it. I don't like Joe Biden. Historically, I know the whole history of him. I don't want my kids going to a jungle. Know all that.
Okay.
He still was the person to vote for out of him and white German Donald Trump. I keep saying it for a reason.
Okay.
Right. That he's white and German. And that's not regular white. Him and Joe Biden both white. Donald Trump was German white. Okay. And Germans have a very particular history with African descended people with Negroes.
Okay.
Right. That we need to know about. On this prestigious black holiday that we're about to celebrate, there's a lot of confusion we need to get out of if we're going to celebrate blackness and not have it be like this ahistorical moment where we're just popping bottles and we're celebrating, but we don't really know why or what it's about. So, 1865 is not actually when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. That was signed in 1863. 1865 is when the black folks in Galveston and in Texas found out about it.
Okay, and see, look, I want to ask a question. One of my good friends, he's from Texas, and like when it really started getting recognized, he was like, man, like he was looking like it was weird because he's like, this is something that's been going on. It's been celebrated for decades in Texas. It's really a big deal, and like it wasn't a lot of emphasis put on it even in Texas, even though it's been known for a long time. So when he was telling me like how he see like the people here in Louisiana celebrating, it just kind of seemed kind of weird now that we're finally catching up to, this. So that's why I actually brought that to your attention because you actually kind of, educated us when you came on the state of Black Shreveport. So that's why I asked you that. Now it seems like it's becoming more and more known to us here.
Yeah, well, that's because so Black American is an amalgamation of several separate and distinct cultural groups.
Correct.
Like Black Creoles and Black Americans are two different things.
Gotcha.
And Black Creoles are Black people who were here, and not just here, but the Louisiana territory went all the way up to Canada, stretched out to parts of Alabama. Mobile used to be part of Louisiana. That's where Mardi Gras started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, for those that are listening, those that are watching, I try to bring in Meech whenever I can. I try to bring him in because the education and the knowledge that he gives us, y'all, like I love to hear it and just sit and just like listen to him. Like, so that's what we're doing, y'all. I just want to continue to pay my respect in the flower shop and like say continue to get educated.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Texas was not part of that original Black South.
Okay.
And some people get offended when people be like, Texas is not the South. Texas is the South geographically, but the areas that Black Americans lived in were very specific regions. When we talk about Black history and the history of chattel slavery, we have to start pulling out maps, like color-coded. Negroes were here. Right, even right now in 2026, if you were to go on the census website and you were to look up largest Black populations and you were to map it out, you're going to end up with a cluster with somewhere between 60 to 70% of Black Americans being in the southeast region of the United States.
Okay.
Because this is where we come from. There's a number of reasons for that. This is the most tropical region that's more similar to West Africa. If you look at the triangular slave trade.
Okay.
And then we were all being trafficked in this area. Like when we talk about we were here 400 years, where?
Okay.
We're mostly in the Carolinas. About 40% of us, like from Ancestry and different groups that study Black DNA, about 40% of us descend from Charleston.
Okay. Charleston, South Carolina, for those that are watching, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's a reason why you hear the baby from the Carolinas start rapping, and this is that sounds good, right? Because there's a very old Black accent. It's a reason why you hear Gucci Mane, and he's from Alabama.
Okay.
Where a lot of Negroes from. You got Black people upwards of 80-90% African in their DNA, don't even know it, from Alabama. And when they go do their ancestry, they like 90 and 90%. 90-some% African, right?
Yeah.
It's a very, very deep Black cultural group in that area. So Gucci Mane don't even have to talk about no Black history stuff or Africa, any of that.
Mhm.
But you hear it and you feel it. It's like, man, when Gucci Mane rap, it sounds different than when everybody else rap.
Yeah.
It has a deep Black Alabama accent.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Everybody saw what happened with Montgomery. White man tried to jump on the Black people in Montgomery.
Right.
They threw them every which way but loose, right?
Right.
It's a very Black culture there. It's not popularized. It's not on TV. A lot of times when we hear Alabama, we start thinking country stuff, and you know what I mean? Usually, I think a lot of times when people talk about Black culture, it's very centered around like New York culture, because that's like the media mecca.
Okay.
So you think about showbiz, you think about being famous, you think about being on TV, radio.
Mhm.
First thing you think about, New York,
Yep.
right? But
That's
Black
true.
people actually migrated to New York in the 1910s from the South. We tripled the population of New York City 1910 and those following decades.
Okay.
And that's how that whole Black people from the South are country. We don't know how to talk. That conversation actually started from Black migrants from the South moving to New York, and they had a clash very similar to Black Americans and Black immigrants now.
Okay.
Because at that time we were those Black immigrants, except the word applies to people move from one country to another. We were considered Black migrants from the South. And if you look at the newspaper articles from back then during the 1910s, the 1920s, when you had the Red Summers, when a lot of Black people were being massacred, the newspapers were calling Black people from the South migrant workers.
Okay.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Migrant workers competing for jobs and resources.
I got you.
The same language as you being weaponized towards immigrants, that was used towards Black Americans during the Great Migration, moving out of the South to the East Coast, to the West Coast, to the Midwest. That language was weaponized towards us. And and there was racial violence towards Black people from the South in St. Louis at the Red Summer, Chicago, New York. There was racial violence when we moved up there. The Watts riots, right?
Right.
California had well-known racial violence towards Black people. You had about 200,000 Black people move out of Louisiana, Mississippi area to California. That's why it seems like everybody you meet from California, they got some cousins, they got some grandparents from here.
Right. True.
Yeah, because California is like a Louisiana diaspora. We don't know that. Louisiana has probably exported like probably most of the Black Americans around the country. Like there's some ties back to Louisiana, right? So we move like from decade to decade. We're transient people. Like, so slavery wasn't like this linear thing where, oh man, my people was in slavery and I'm from Louisiana, so my people were probably always in Louisiana. My people, I'm part of those people that came from East Texas after the Civil War.
Okay.
And a lot of North Louisiana Black people are. That's why our culture seems so distinct and different than Black people from South Louisiana who had that strong French, but still Africanized accent, right? That Black Creole accent, and they cook different. And, we notice it even when we don't read about it and we don't learn about it. We can feel it. Like these people are Black like me, but they're a little different. Right? So I say all that. Texas is a whole nother country during chattel slavery. It literally was part of New Spain. It literally was Mexico. Okay. The word Texas comes from Tejas, was the original name of Texas. Tejas, Tejas, Tejas. Okay. And that comes from the Caddo Native American language. It means big chief. Yeah. Wow. So they were independent state, probably a couple decades, but there was a war. You had the Mexican-American War. You had the Battle of Texas, where a lot of it was over slavery. A lot of people don't know that in Mexico they had a revolt similar to Haiti, where the Native Americans and the Africans got together, conquered the Spanish, and that was under a Black general named Vicente Guerrero. He actually had a Native American mother and an African father. It's very common in that region. He's Afro-Indigenous. He identified as a Black man. He abolished slavery in 1829. He was the second president of Mexico. When you go to Acapulco,
Okay.
You're in the state called Guerrero. That's named after him.
Okay.
Second president of Mexico, black dude. Now, he abolished slavery in 1829. It's about 30 years right before 1865.
Okay.
You follow me?
I got you.
The Black Seminoles, who are Africans, who joined the Seminole Nation because they helped the Seminoles fight the Spanish in Florida. Right?
Okay.
That's how they became the Black Seminole Nation. The Black Seminoles are ethnically, ancestrally different than the Native American Seminoles. That's why it's called the Black Seminole Nation, because they are Gullah and Geechee people mostly, who were Maroons, who had been resisting slavery, living out in their own cities they set up. And we really got to talk more about Maroons during June and during Juneteenth and during Black holidays, because the Maroons resisted slavery as early as the 1500s. Maroons were like fugitives from slavery, but they weren't just fugitives. They set up their own, like how we talk about having a black sovereign state.
Yeah.
That's what Maroons were. Like Yanga, Mexico, Yanga is named after a Maroon, and like it's an entire group of Africans that fought slavery, built their own city that's Yanga, Mexico. So if you go to Yanga in Mexico, they got a big statue of a black man, right? That's the first free city of Mexico. They call them the Cimarrones in Spanish. But there's Cimarrones all throughout Latin American history. People who have a very different story than slavery. And it's not that slavery didn't affect them, it's that their response to slavery was different. Rather than conform, they choose to fight to the death. And the product of that was a lot of them ended up forming their own communities. The ones that survived. I don't want to make it sound like it was easy. They were just like black superheroes. They fought everybody and they just, nah, ain't gonna be no slave.
Right.
No, that risked their lives. They were basically living as fugitives. It's kind of like how Palestine is right now. You know how Palestine is not recognized as a state, but the Palestinians, they are a state.
Okay.
But these other countries don't recognize Palestine as a state with rights that they have to like respect or consider. You know, kind of like Dred Scott, like black people. That's why so many black historical figures align with Palestine, because black people were somewhat of a stateless people the same way.
Okay.
Like we very much have always been a nation, but we've never been recognized by white governments as a nation.
Okay.
Yeah. So Texas became part of U.S. in 1845. So that's about, 20 years before 1865. So they're one of the newest states to the Union, right? And they have formerly just been a part of a country that had abolished slavery already. So you technically were already free in Texas until 1845 comes. 1845, Tejas becomes Texas. Now you ain't free no more. Why? Because a slave-owning country has taken over and now slavery is legal again. So slavery was legal, then it was not legal, now it's legal again. Why? Territory change. That's why understanding colonialism is so important to understanding slavery, because if you don't understand who owned the colony and how different colonizers fought each other, did business deals with each other, Louisiana Purchase, right? Things change. The rules change. Who can own property changes. Who can be property changes when the territory changes. And so that's what's going on in Texas leading up until the Civil War that's going on, and then emancipation. And then the black people in Texas find out about it late. The reason they found out about it late, because this is a new part of the United States at this point.
Okay.
And this new part of the United States was part of a country that Mexico refused to extradite runaway slaves. Mexico was the Southern Underground Railroad.
Okay.
And, like normally when you ran away to the north, a lot of the northern states, like Missouri, they would return you to your slave owner, even if they didn't have slavery. If you were owned by somebody in the southern state, they would return you. The Slavery Extradition Act. Mexico refused to honor the Slavery Extradition Act, and that's part of what amplified white people going in and taking over Texas and the Southwest California, annexing that from the Mexicans, because they were literally fighting to maintain slavery, which was what the white economy and capitalism is built on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. So for those that are here, like I said, I really appreciate you, Meech, coming through as always. And for those that are listening, we want to continue this conversation with Meech because if you watch the State of Black Street Pro when he came a couple of years ago, was it in 2024?
I think it was 2024.
2024, he came through, man. What for those that are out there that are actually listening on the radio and watching on social media, what type of material can we get to be more educated so we can actually be familiar with what your information providing us, and if we just want to know, because like I told you, I'm a history buff. I love history, but I don't really indulge in it. And like just sitting listening to you, I feel like I'm in a class and I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because I love history and I love learning about the culture, and I want to know more about my culture. So you said I know there's a different combination when it comes to cultures and where we're from and what we actually represent. So what for the people, what can we do so that we can actually have more conversation with you like this?
Okay, well, yeah, y'all definitely you can definitely follow my social media at Meechus, MEECHUS. I ain't hard to find on there.
And that's on IG, right?
Yeah. Instagram _Meechus and TikTok, all different platforms. And you definitely can follow me, ask me questions. I don't try to center myself as like a demigod. I feel like that happens too much in the influencer world.
I understand.
Where, well, Meech said this, so this is the only thing we could think.
Right.
Like, I don't know everything. A lot of stuff I'm telling you, I just learned within the past decade because I keep learning. So I would say the biggest thing we have to do, that we all have to do, is kill off that ego that says, I know everything I need to know, and if I don't know it, it's stupid and it's useless to know.
Okay.
A lot of people have that mindset, and that's what blocks them from getting information. Because it's a lot of people that know way more than me that I listen to.
Yeah.
And then I don't just listen to and assume that they're right. I go cross-reference the information like we learned to do in college.
Right.
So learning to research, learning to vet sources. We have more Black college graduates than we've had at any point in history.
Yeah.
Especially Black women, most educated group. We can listen to Black women. That's a hack. I learned to listen to Black women. And the more I learn to listen to Black women, the smarter I got.
I got you.
So definitely listen to Black women, especially Black women that got 3-4 different degrees.
Yeah.
Stop arguing with them. May not like what they have to say or their view on everything all the time, but they're the reason we're here. Literally, physically, mentally, spiritually, we could not exist without them. So listen to the Black women that are doing the work. I think if we could get past misogyny, and also even homophobia and transphobia, elitism, if we can get over certain bigotries that we carry from indoctrination, from organized religion, we never had that talk one day. Because the reason we don't know a lot of these things, and I'm probably going to wipe out half the people that like me at this point, is because of organized religion. Not that it's inherently bad, but just because of the anti-intellectualism that's been used to maintain, organized religion.
And so look, you about to get deep. We ain't gonna. We're gonna he can't lose all this following the people. We need you, bro.
Put the Bible down. Pick a textbook up.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. And the Bible is beautiful, but don't let it be your only source of information in life. I learned to read from the Bible.
Yeah.
But I learned so much even about the Bible and about my relationship with God from learning things outside the Bible.
Okay.
So I'll leave them with that.
That's deep. Hey, man, like I said, once again, we appreciate you coming through, man. All the flowers to you. And we got to get you back in here rather sooner than later because we want to continue to discuss and have this conversation. And, a key point that you made, you say we need to listen to our Black women. We have one actually waiting, Miss LaMonica Platter. She's going to come on and talk about her camp and stuff. So, look, we go listen to what she got going on as well. Like I said, once again, bro, we love you. Anything we can do, you got to come back rather soon. I'm talking about really soon, like next week. I got you.
Yeah, we can do it. Okay, we can do it. I'll be here, man.
All right, man. Y'all, we're on the radio. We're going to still be here. We're going to play some music. We got to get Meech up out of here. We got to go ahead and get Miss Platter in here, man. And like I said, man, we're going to have Meech back in here, y'all, because this is very important. It's vital for us to listen. When we listen to learn. So that's what we got to continue to do, man. Like I say, bro, you already know, man. We're going to get out of here.